Did you just put your...
Oh, yeah, oh, that's hard to have.
How are you? Good.
Take a look, you guys.
Dr. Richard.
Trying to figure
Well,
it
how
out.
about it a lot like this?
I would like to figure out that.
She's certified. Oh, yeah. Oh, so you go to a niece and nephew, and they're like, okay, so in the beginning she was like, right? And I was like, so they have the picture of like, so she's like pastors. So there's this guy, and they're like, he and Jerry are looking at the guy. Yeah.
Wait till you see our
So you sign it.
I am not like you. I'm not.
Put it in the design.
I'm like, and I care about that dog.
If on the other hand, you're setting up a whole email about a lot of this is fire. What you should never do is send over the last month, I've dealt with agents like Emily McClellan who got their emails shut off by sending so many emails.
I figured it out.
No, they shut you down for thinking you're spam. But if you send it through command, they don't see that. The difference is if you're sending a quantity and you don't offer an unsubscribe option, that's where Google gets mad. And you try to send it through your email because you don't want them to unsubscribe. So that's everything.
Yeah, no, I figured.
And Jess's daughter did the same thing just yesterday. So,
Hey, it's okay.
yeah. So don't send it that way.
Yeah, I just. I was like, there has to be something that like we buckle down on and we do and stuff like that. So I had asked them, that master. And they were like, yeah, literally everybody has come back to me and it's mailed to them.
If it's, again, if it's not graphical, the design work command is fine. But beyond that,
So then, how do you set it up from what you do to set that up?
that's where you get into the toddy level. Mary! That's a good plan. I would set some fun aside for it all.
I'm also living out of town. You drink those too? I'm Jessica Neary. Yes, hi Jessica.
I don't know what she is or what she does or things, but I know that it's something.
but she has really cool
She's the one that got me into the culture command. Way back when. Remember you came in, you had your career binder, you're like, so you guys. It's me and Dawn. So you guys. And I was like, no. Sounds like I'm not doing that. Wrong answer. Thank you. I got a lot of printed in my head, so yeah, good timing. Good.
Amber. We're gonna have a big one today, so buckle in. Buckle in. They will be gone soon. I know again.
Face to face. Oh, good. You're a hugger. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Aren't we all here?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Lisa, I'm in your spot. You are. I'm trying to.
Your short switch.
No, you're fine.
You did?
I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I don't think that's in there.
He just keep them yeah, they're like that big.
What are you doing for your bachelorette party?
No. So, we're doing a combined bachelorette party. We have like all the same friends.
That's what my friends are doing too. It's
Yeah.
just family.
Yeah. So, we're doing it, but kind of like, we're calling it the hub. It's at my parents' house.
That's nice.
They have like a lot of land and
Yeah.
we have a pool and stuff, but every day we're like going to do something.
Cool.
So we're going floating on like the top of one day, we're doing like a spa day, and the guys are going to do
Don't
their
be so
own thing.
enthusiastic. You hurt somebody with that smile.
My mom is like bringing kids.
so glad you guys
Like
made
a
it.
learning spot.
Oh, that's
I told ya. I told ya.
I know.
The other I know there's like a Olympics happening, and then there's something else happening that I don't have any idea of.
Yeah.
And we have, it's next weekend, but we have a lot of people coming from out of town. So like, the first people are coming into town today, they're live in Hawaii, and so they're getting here for a while.
It makes
So-
sense to keep her along.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. But
I know my dad, I was like, so no more strawberry floor, pass it out, you're going to. Like,
Yeah, kitten. You sing. That's a how are you, man? Well, there you go. All we needed was some food.
This is the different kind of groove you're doing.
I'm gonna bring it today.
yeah.
I should have worn some other shoes though. Not shoes.
past week, and I sent it to them, and I was like, how are you? Far, and it's like 12 hours. So, which I'm glad they said that before I went to go to the like, do the thing. I was gonna be like, oh, it's too far. You're like, so I tried to tell them, but I could like, yeah, but the address is really they're still tough, and I had a friend who, like, I had interviewed with Brian, and like, I was talking, they said our sisters, and my dad, and so Friday, I was doing
Oh, yeah.
plan both 2 of our competitors. So, and I know that happens. Everybody's coming. Yeah, but you're still like, yeah, and like that's like, oh yeah. Are they? Yeah, but that's okay. It'll, yeah, they'll come back. So, it's really after we learned it and we're moving on. So that means we have to.
Cats, is that Chase?
Here. I was almost gonna sit in the way back to see the Dog scouting. You're probably scouting agents as well.
All the things.
Do a photo.
So, I mean, oh.
Because she said I worked with a different agent, I just use things of like, well, you know what I mean? There's, I mean, I'm not like, right, but it's like, my family and all. Like, oh. I have so much better. It'll come around sometime.
Oh, I know.
So,
Yeah, for sure. There's still a lot of them. We're gonna start a little.
Good morning, everybody. We're gonna give it just a couple minutes. You know, I like to start on time, but those Pour Coffee folks are really, really, really working hard this morning to get through that line. So we're gonna give a couple minutes for them to get in here. Wouldn't mind reading that. Jamie, hey, while we're waiting though, I did want to read this because it's Agent Appreciation Day. And I'm a big fan of anything that has to do with expressing gratitude. And I just want to take a minute because I thought this was perfect as an idea and a concept today. The appreciation can make a day or change a life. Your willingness is to put it all into words is all that is necessary. So often the people we care about most don't find out how much they mean to us at the time that is appropriate. And we have the opportunity to do that at any time. And sometimes, oddly enough, it's hard. It's hard to say thank you, to acknowledge those who helped us get to where we are. But I want to say that, take that time right now to thank every one of you on behalf of the leadership team, on behalf of myself, on behalf of my wife, who works here as well, to say thank you for all that you've done. I couldn't think of a better place and a better set of folks to work with who bring me in a tremendous amount of joy and allow me to do something that I truly enjoy doing on a regular basis. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, and this day is about it. And we want to make sure that we convey that as often and as frequently as possible. Now, I just said all those nice things, and then I'm going to call out Monique, hiding in her office, Karina, hiding in another office, Hannah, hiding in another office, maybe some other people. But at any rate, thank you so much, and welcome to Agent Appreciation Day. Are we ready to go?
We have Vikings quarterback?
The Vikings quarterback.
It's his mom.
Oh, I see, Margaret Cousins. That's funny, because the quarterback is Kirk Cousins. Not everybody's into sports.
I got him.
Not everybody knows. So, thank you all for coming today. Thanks for being here. And with that, we will get going. We always like to start out with bucket fills for those of you who have not had the opportunity to do that. And start out with my good friend Taylor. First bucket fill.
This amazing office, so kind and helpful. Thank you for lending a conference room. Josh from KW Maple Grove.
Awesome. How about that, Josh? Carly, if you wouldn't mind.
Sherry, who literally prays over every KWPR listing as she inputs changes and works on them. Wow, how powerful and amazing is that?
That is pretty great. I mean, think about that. Sharon?
This one is anonymous. My wonderful dog.
I think I have some ideas on that.
Olivia's?
Michelle?
Such a great team of people, Zach, Nicole, etc.
Tom?
Family and love.
Fantastic. It's like raising an infant. I have no kids. I have only adults in my house, and I got a new one again. Matt.
The Michelle Hoagland group and Tasha Wells brighten my day Thursday with kind words and treats from Sherry.
Yes, I can think of it.
That's awesome.
She is so patient and genuine, a real pleasure to work with
Fantastic. And my good friend Dana in the back.
Victoria's huge heart, warm energy, and kindness she brings with her everywhere she goes.
Hey.
Now, for those of you who don't know, come on down, Victoria. It's a happy birthday time. We have a pretty rousing chorus today.
He's my favorite. Not kidding.
Come on down. You gotta look at your cake. You gotta get pictures. So everybody else has to do it. Jamie, are you leading us in song or no?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Victoria. Happy birthday to you.
Sorry.
All right. Speech.
I will tell you this, that we've all been working really hard on Agent Appreciation Day, and those of you that know me know that team meeting days are my very favorite days because you're all and it makes me happy. So I hadn't even been thinking about my birthday, and then I woke up this morning and thinking, okay, Agent Appreciation Day is ready to go. Birthday, and I get to see all my agents. It's like the best ever. So thank you for being here, and love you all. If you don't know that already, I'm here to tell you for a fact I do. So anything I can do for you, I will do, even today.
From here we go with the Spirit Award, and Tony Cater was not able to make it today, but she did ask me to say this about her nominee. This individual is a beacon of positivity and hope, always seeing the bright side of any situation. They radiate optimism and have an unwavering faith in the goodness of people and God. They approach challenges with a can-do attitude, inspires others to do the same. This infectious energy and unwavering belief in the power of positivity make him a joy to be around and a true inspiration to all who know him. KWPR is lucky to have such an incredible team leader at the helm, and I am lucky to call him friend.
I'll say this for myself, I guess.
Fantastic.
Wow. All right. Well, I want to meet that guy. So you just no, I think especially coming from someone who's helped build this culture in such a beautiful way, Tony. Really, y'all attracted me. Sorry. I'm just a reflection of what the leadership team is doing and you. Oh, sorry, again, what a great reflection for you. This is what you look like. But it really is. Whatever we can do to promote you, that is really what I want to do, and continue to put you all on the pedestal because you deserve it. So thank you.
And here comes Jamie Ogden with the play of the week.
Oh, the week. All right, just as you guys have, again, so that same spirit, what are ways we can promote you to your sphere in unique ways? Yes, they see, hey, so-and-so is the 5th of this month. That's awesome. It tells them that you're a competent realtor. These are great ways of telling your sphere and us in here how special people are, what people are doing that are so special. Steve, there was a whole bunch of things. He closed on his first, sold a huge 72 sold listing. The fact that he's a profit share genius and he comes to the classes still, that tells me a lot about him and his heart and his drive. And of course, the Rawl report. And then we have Tony. Not only is she a good judgment and character, but we all say we want to fight for something, we want to make changes, we complain a lot. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, but few people step up and just go, I'm going to make a difference, and I'm not going to stop until I get that change. That's what she has done, and yeah, get emotional about that because that's really impressive. And Megan is literally giving of herself. So she has agreed to at least be in preparation for donating a kidney to someone she cares about. And what can you say more about that, right? So thank you all for being easy to reflect out to the public, because this is just a small representation of the hearts that are here. So thank you. Yeah, Jason. Oh, welcome. We got some rookies. So let's welcome Beth with Red Wing Homes for Sale. Kiri. Shockley. Dang it. Sorry.
Yay, Shockley.
It doesn't say it on there, but it's Ryan, custodian. What do you want? Dentist appointment. So
But he will have great teeth when he's done.
But with him not being here, it definitely leaves a large cavity. Welcome, Ryan. The wonderful part about Ryan is he's got a lot of experience in this industry, and due to the culture that Olivia et al. Created, he wanted to come back. So, okay, here we go. Soda group, starting with Ashley and Emily. Where are you at? We're gonna. We have Kate and Morgan. Morgan just fresh off of adding a new realtor to the family. Very impressive. And the leader of the pack, Amber. So excited to have you all. Learn the background of what you do for culture. So it's gonna be awesome. We have some cappers. Let's give it up for Andy and John. Fresh, hot off the press.
Fresh hot off the press? Well, kinda, but I mean, Kurt was a couple days ago.
Oh, I missed it, sorry. I forgot that you were gonna do the Kurt joke first. Sorry. Well, Scotty. And this just happened yesterday. Yeah. Great. I love that you can keep 100% of your commissions. It's an amazing opportunity that this company offers that says, hey, let's be a partnership, let's be great partners. And we get to treat you all equally because you all mean equally financially. So there's no favoritism in that way. However, it can be bought.
So I did want to thank you, Scotty, for allowing me to pull that joke, because in the end, it's a reflection of me and my insecurities, because it's always Kelly and me. That's the only way I get up there. So, I like to make sure that we're about that. But on my other side, I've got my good friend Matt coming up to talk a little bit about the money news.
The money news. Just a review from last month. You guys continue to outpace the rest of the market, which is awesome. The final numbers haven't come out from Minneapolis yet, but I'm assuming they didn't do as well as you guys did, which is awesome. 128 closed units last month, which was down a little bit from last year, but considering how the rest of the market's doing, that's fantastic. You guys, again, continue to amaze me, continue to outpace everybody else. Thank you for everything you do.
It's that time to talk about calendar. We have some crazy and exciting things coming up for the calendar. Children. Children. I want to talk about Quantum Leap on June 9th. And this is open to folks who are ages 18 to 28. So for those folks who are in that category, Quantum Leap is an amazing opportunity to learn about changing your life. And I can't think of someone I would rather have speak to Quantum Leap better than Gary Keller. And he's going to be doing that. We will have that Zoom webinar here at the office from 8:30 to 5. If you know someone between 18 and 28, or you are someone between 18 and 28, an incredible opportunity for you.
We do need an RSVP for that because there is a cost. We're willing to have it, but if you have a child or you are an agent in this office in that age frame, see Victoria, because we've got to pay for it and get registered to be able to have it up here.
So we're excited to bring that to you, Steve.
Sidebar. It's the most awesome course. I don't know if this is the full one. I've taken it 3 times. I took it from Mo Anderson, Gary Keller, and I forget who the third one was. But the manual, you know how I like charts, right? It's just phenomenal information, and it just opens your mind in such a manner that you'll never be the same.
Chris has got a comment as well, and I'm going to hold that for just a minute.
This one here at the Market Center, if we have it, we have enough interest, is different than the one that's being held next week in Roseville for adults. just so you know, this one is for 18 to
And I think
20.
Jason has a slide for that too.
Okay. Well, I know there's confusion about that because there are two of them.
I just was gonna share, I gave this to 2 people for graduation gifts that are gonna be attending this, and so it's a great idea.
Fantastic idea.
They're really excited about it.
And it's a fantastic idea. Other things we have coming up are profit share meeting, and that's gonna have Danielle and Jamie talking about profit share on June 13th at 10 a.m. And you're saying to yourself, you know somebody in here is going, is that gonna be on Zoom? It is. It's amazing.
Where would we find that Zoom link?
twr-dashboard.com, boom, I love it.
Never heard of it.
I just want to add one thing real quick. I don't know if you saw the news, but there are major changes happening in a lot of other brokerages at a time when our ownership has put us in such a great financial situation where we're adding people and opportunity, and there's a rumor there might be a TC very soon. Very soon. But we're adding resources for you. You don't leave someone who needs help and pull back just because you pour back into people when they need help and give them more resources. So just wanted to share that. So social media strategies, it's going to be important for you.
Donuts for Dads, we'll be having that on June 16th, 9 a.m. in the kitchen. 6 personal perspectives coming up, and it's going to be on June 27th, 28-ish in there with Olivia. And the reason it doesn't on there on the 14th, and it says the 14th, we had to change that because we launched Quantum Leap as a region, and that's going to be held with Gene Rivers, and that's going to be up in Roseville on the 14th. And that is different than the one we're having in the office. This one is in Roseville, and it's going to be in person with Gene Rivers at 8 a.m. to 2:30. You do need to sign up for that, and you don't want to miss it. But you do have to drive to Roseville, so you got that going for you. It's a beautiful drive. But we're going to have Olivia talking about being accountable, and she is accountable to her calendar, so she has moved it and replaced it to another day. When you take something off your calendar, you just have to move it to another day. And we'll be revealing that date very quickly. In addition to that, you should save the date. We're going to go into a Twins game again on July 22nd, so save that date. More details to come. But July 22 against the important Chicago White Sox. Best team in baseball. Best team in baseball. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tom. Jamie wants to point out that this guy in the corner.
Oh, yeah. That's Petey?
Yes.
Oh.
Is a friend of his. So we want to embarrass Jamie as much as possible.
I do it myself. Yeah, he's the manager, and it's his first year, and the White Sox are really struggling, so hopefully he'll still be the manager by that day. I hope. Well, else, I mean, they cannot be great, because they're called the White Sox, but their socks are black. That's pretty basic.
Color blindness is real.
Oh, you.
Thank you. With that in mind, if you've got all of your calendar things in order now, I'm going to have my good friends come up to the front, Brian and Drake.
Nice.
I feel like we need to leave you alone for a moment. You're in there alone enough.
Well, yeah, thanks for the introduction. I guess that's good timing with the events and everything. So you caught me off guard. That was the point. Not too many times I'm speechless. So yeah, we've got this awesome graphic for you guys. We send out this in our monthly newsletter. So if any of you guys are not getting our monthly newsletter, please let us know. We'll make sure you get added to that. This is one of the things that we send out to you just to help you come up with content so that you can post away on social media and not have to think of, something to post up every other day. And then also our next slide, we've got an awesome event coming up for an in-person class This will be one of our first in-person classes since probably, the whole COVID era. So make sure you get involved in this. We've talked to you time and time again about our NAF cash program. To be able to turn your buyer into a cash buyer is a huge advantage. These days, I don't know the statistics, but there's a big percentage of cash buyers out there, and what better way to be able to compete against those guys. And so June 20th, mark your calendar, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll be providing lunch. You'll be able to come to our St. Louis Park office and check that out. I believe that's about a 25-minute drive for you guys. And so, it's a great way to get that certification because you do need it to be able to use our NAFCAsh program. Brian and I have had times where, we want to rush a cash offer approval, but oh wait, we need to get that certification from the agent. So, and we do have the online trainings Monday through Friday. There's one on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that you can attend to. It's an hour Zoom class. So, a lot of people just kind of keep it up there and, in the background while they're working and, ask questions if they need to, because it is live and with a live instructor. But yeah, this is a great opportunity to just get in there in person, get that hands-on experience, ask the questions that you might have about our cash offer program.
And a free lunch.
And a free lunch.
Yep. So we spent a lot of time talking about interest rates, and kind of small here, but some different loan amounts and 6.5%, 7% rate. There is a big difference, or there can be a big difference as far as rates are. But if we focus with our customers on timing the rate, we're going to lose that battle because rates are moving all over the place. Instead, maybe we should focus on, with our customers, on the cost of waiting, especially with high rents these days. The cost of waiting is expensive for them. Instead of focus on rate, let's focus on the cost of waiting. Interest rates move all over the place, they're transient, they change. So if we focus on our customers, on the home that they can afford, you can always refinance later if the opportunity comes up. I can plug our 5-year rate commitment pledge, where in the next 5 years after they buy, if the opportunity comes in, there's no lender fees for them to refinance. All right. Another reason why let's not focus on the rate, let's focus on getting them something they can buy and afford. Basically, we want our customers to focus on getting their dream home, and I think we can help you do that with your clients. Cool. Wait, I got this other letter.
Here we go.
This is from the Prince of Peace, Archdiocese in St. Louis. And they wanted to mention, how do I forget to, and we really, really, really want to thank the mulching team for their publicity. So, just wanted to let everybody know that.
Thank you, Brian. Great. For the record, any button. Any button. So I hit the wrong one. Labeled power. They're all one color except for one button. Don't
Not touch the red one.
That's
We'll release
solid
the nuclear.
advice, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Don't press the red button. He couldn't find the any button.
I couldn't find it.
Labeled. It wasn't labeled.
All right. Enough fun and frivolity. Let's get down to business. Speaking of, people that are willing to step up when called upon or when there's an opportunity to make a difference, we have that person here. Zach Duckworth not only has built an amazing team through using the Keller Williams models with the support of his amazing wife, Carly. He's also a marvelous senator, and he's here to speak with you all. And despite the prestige, you do not miss out on having a walk-up song. Zach. I'll just the bill.
Oh.
That's old school.
Well, thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. I didn't know I get a walk-up song. That's pretty awesome. It's not the Enrique Iglesias I was hoping to walk up to. Thank you. There we go. I probably should not have said that. It's a pleasure to be here. You had it right. I couldn't do it without Carly as far as the team goes, so big thanks to them. And I just realized how much I have missed Brian Sunders' jokes.
Don't be them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I won't. Just a short and sweet introduction to some of the information we're gonna go over. Hey Taylor, how are you, buddy? It's been a while. The legislative session in the state of Minnesota goes from about January to February to the end of May, so long as we get our stuff done on time. So we're done with session so far for this year. And I'm gonna recap very specific information about you as it relates to the housing bill that was passed. There's a whole host of things we could talk about, but we're gonna focus really mostly on things that are pertinent and relevant to real estate and to housing. So I also want to preface this by saying, I'm gonna share with you many things that are just simply facts. This is not going to be a political opinion, political debate. We can do that over beers sometime. I'll be happy to answer questions. Right. Political jokes are welcome, so long as they're not at my expense. But it's mostly gonna be just kind of factual. Here's what's going on. Here's what's relevant to you. And then before we wrap up, I'm gonna let you know of a couple of things that maybe are a little bit more opinion about what I think might be coming down the pipeline in the future. And then just a couple of quick side notes for maybe some business implications for folks, especially if you have employees, about what you might need to plan for as a small business owner, just so that you find that you're in a position to succeed. So we passed a bill, thank you, that basically a little over $1 billion is going to get invested in housing in some shape or form or another in the great state of Minnesota over the next couple of years. But much like listing photos, seeing that or how understanding the actual specifics of how that's going to play out in reality sometimes doesn't look as nice in the headline as it does when you see it in person. So we're going to go through what that actually means when we talk about the $1 billion investment of taxpayer dollars. A couple of highlights that I'll get into that we're going to talk about in more detail. $100 million to create a community-based first-generation home buyers assistance program that was endorsed by the Minnesota Association of Realtors. I worked very hard with them and their lobbyist representatives at the Capitol to talk about down payment assistance programs for first-generation homeowners. So we'll go through some of that. And there's also a down payment assistance program. And then something that should be of note is there's a sales tax increase of 2.5% in the 7-county metro area. I'm sorry, 0.25%, sometimes it seems like more. And the idea behind that is, of the funds that are raised, and it's gonna raise about $350 million in revenue, 50% is gonna go to the metro counties for aid, 25% to metro cities, and 25% to a statewide rental assistance program. So if you're in the 7-county metro area, you're gonna see that increase on sales taxes, and then the idea behind that is it's gonna go toward a lot of housing initiatives, and we'll talk about some of those in detail.
When's that going into effect?
I think it takes effect beginning of next year. Yep. So make your purchases now.
Yep.
Okay, a couple of other just quick highlights. $90 million to establish a community stabilization program to preserve naturally occurring affordable housing. Sometimes it's called NOAA. So naturally occurring affordable housing is really, they're trying to target those homes that are sort of at that first time home buyer purchase price point. Okay, it's kind of funny that to me they call it naturally occurring housing. We would just call that the market, right? The market at work. But they're trying to help bring those prices down, or at least stabilize them and keep them affordable for folks. Of course, over the last few years, we've seen how much homes have appreciated, and now with interest rates as well, obviously that affordability for folks is becoming an issue. Homeless prevention, we did a decent amount for that. Home ownership investment grants, $39 million in Greater Minnesota for workforce housing development, $10 million for manufactured home lending grants. What you're going to see in a lot of our mobile home parks is kind of a push to help the residents of those manufactured home communities ultimately purchase them and own them themselves. So that's what a lot of those grants are for. $50 million to establish a stable housing organization relief fund. A lot of that's gonna be run by nonprofits, 200 million for the housing infrastructure program, 120 million for local housing needs, and then 20.5 million to expand the workforce homeownership programs. A lot of that's in the metro and out of state. Getting housing for workforce for our businesses in certain areas is somewhat of a challenge, so we're trying to solve that as well. So I'm going to tell you what eligible household for rental assistance actually means, and all this information comes straight from state statute. I'm pulling it straight from the law, so it's exactly as it reads. It means a household with an annual income of up to 50% of the area median income, adjusted for family size, and if they're paying more than 30% of their household annual income on rent. Okay, so this gets into some of the particulars where I said sometimes a headline sounds great, but then when you get into the weeds and you realize how it actually would be applied, you realize, okay, there's some caveats, there's some specific, it's applied to everybody. Here's how it would play out in reality. A lot of these programs are obviously targeted to help folks that aren't necessarily able to afford housing or rent, and so that's where some of those specifications come into play. It's not going to be for everybody in the state of Minnesota. It's going to be very targeted. Let's talk about the first generation homebuyers down payment assistance fund. So this fund was established to provide targeted assistance to eligible first generation homebuyer households throughout the state. So you're probably asking, well, what's a first time homebuyer? Who's eligible? The stuff in bold is really what's important. A household whose income is at or below 115% of the statewide or area median income. A first-time homebuyer is defined as somebody who never owned a home or owned a home but lost it due to foreclosure, so that's an important caveat. As a parent or prior legal guardian who does not currently own a home and had never previously owned a home or owned one and lost it due to foreclosure. They have to complete an education course, of course, and then they also have to have it as their primary residence. So you can see when you talk about a first generation home buyer and what that might mean to you, well, when you look at the specifications, you can see there are some caveats or certain criteria in there that may or may not qualify for somebody to be technically deemed a first generation home buyer. That makes sense so far? Use of funds. Well, how can we use these funds? That's our first question, right? When we call Brian or Drake to say, hey, there's these programs, how can we actually, who's eligible and how can we utilize these funds? It can be provided as a forgivable loan, a deferred loan, or a combination of both. You can use it to purchase a 1 to 4 unit home, including manufactured homes. It's limited to the greater of 10% of the price of the home or $35,000 per eligible first generation homebuyer household. And the funds may be used for closing costs, down payment, mortgage insurance, interest rate buy down, and principal reduction. I mean, that's pretty important. You have a pretty good wide range of use for those funds if you're eligible to utilize them. And they can be combined with other homebuyer assistance programs, but they must be utilized in conjunction with a conforming mortgage or a traditional mortgage that meets FHA or conventional requirements. Repayment. This is what Brian always wants to talk about. Making sure you understand how that loan is going to get repaid. It will be repayable if the property converts to a non-owner occupancy, is sold within the loan period, is subjected to an ineligible refinance, or is subjected to unauthorized transfer of title or for other reasons. Pretty standard stuff, right? Recapture can be waived in the event of a financial hardship if that person for some reason is having a hardship that the housing agency deems appropriate, they can waive that. So we're going to talk about another program as well. This is the community-based first generation homebuyer assistance program. And an eligible household is someone whose income is at or below 100% of the median area income at the time of the purchase. They must be pre-approved. Again, they've never owned a home or who owned a home at one point but lost it due to foreclosure. Whose parent or legal guardian either never owned a home or owned one but lost it due to foreclosure. Again, you're going to have to do a home buyer education course in order to be eligible, and then you have to occupy it as a primary residence. Use of funds, again, same limitation, and the funds may be used for these as well, and you can use it with other as well. I know it sounds different. This is much more targeted in certain geographic areas, and it's a pilot program, which is what differentiates it from the first program we talked about, which was statewide. Okay, first-time homebuyer fee-based home purchase refinance program. This is super exciting stuff. This is what when you ask me what we're doing in St. Paul, this is the kind of stuff. debating it and trying not to fall asleep, I'm just kidding. So eligible home buyer whose income is at or below 130%, resides in a census tract where at least, and this is an important caveat, at least 60% of occupied housing units are renter occupied. Well, as you can imagine, that's a very, very specific geographic targeted area as it relates to this program in particular. So it has to be within an area of the state in which there's a high level, over half of the occupied housing units are renter occupied, and whose financing property with interest-free fee-based mortgage, first-time home buyer by many of those definitions we discussed before. Eligible property, good news here, condo, townhouse, single family, manufactured home. To qualify for assistance, you have to complete a course. If you are purchasing a property with multiple units and you're also going to rent some of those units, well, then you have to complete a landlord course as well. You have to contribute at least $1,000 to the down payment or closing costs of the property, then occupy it or at least one of the units as your primary residence. So that's really high level, some programs that might pertain to you as a realtor, your client, and a lender that you might want to be knowledgeable about. If you have follow-up questions, I'm happy to chat with you or point you in the direction of the agency or organization or nonprofit that can answer your questions. So now I want to pivot a little bit and talk about what you might expect on the horizon if I'm doing okay on time. Good, okay? All right. So there's been a lot of conversation at the Capitol regarding a few of these topics here that have actually the potential to have very serious impact, not only on the real estate market here within our state, but also on our professions. The first one, changes to landlord-tenant law. Right now, if we were looking at a scale and trying to balance the rights of a landlord and the rights of a tenant, I would say our state is maybe sort of balanced. If anything, it's a little bit more favored toward the tenant. And what we have the possibility of occurring in the near future is for that balance to really become in the favor of tenants over landlords. Not saying that's right or wrong, not getting into the political aspect of that conversation or debate, but what I would tell you is if we were to make some changes to our state statute and really increase that scale, if it were to favor our tenants a little bit more than landlords, what might that mean, or what might that do to investment properties or opportunities, or folks that are looking to make investments in this state? Well, obviously it could impact how they're viewing those investments, the likelihood of them making those investments, the risk tolerance, and the liabilities that they could potentially be exactly. So something to keep an eye on as we move forward and the state looks at whether or not we're going to change or modify any tenant laws or any laws that pertain to landlords or property rights. The rent control debate is going to continue. So last session, the political makeup of the state legislature was a little bit different. And the Realtors Association actually came out, and I was kind of proud of them, came out and said, hey, this whole rent control idea, probably not a good thing. There's a quote out there by a famous PhD doctorate person that said, the only thing that is as damaging to a metropolitan area than dropping an atomic bomb on it is implementing rent control. And because it manipulates and changes and tweaks the market so substantially that oftentimes the second and third order effects or consequences are much more detrimental than you might think. And again, that's not me trying to get on political soapbox, it's just something that we're going to look at. You may recall the city of St. Paul actually took this to their voters, and their voters approved a modified version of rent control within the city of St. Paul. Does anybody kind of remember how that played out over the course of the next year or two? Well, I can tell you this much, their housing permits and their new build permits decreased by 80%. And they had several multi-million-dollar projects, housing unit projects, stop and leave and go elsewhere. And that's what when I talk about the unintended consequences or side effects. Well, we want to establish rent control to keep things affordable. But when you stop construction and you actually remove units where you're decreasing supply in the midst of high demand, actually causes the costs of just about everything to go up, to include rent. Minneapolis was thinking about doing the same thing. Bit of an uproar. They saw it happen in St. Paul. They pushed time out, said no thank you. The mayor's actually been kind of pushing back on that, but the city council might try to still move forward with something, or at least take it to the voters. So just something to be mindful of in our profession as we're talking about the market and what has the potential to impact the cost of rent and housing in general. Last but not least, this was interesting. You might see LLCs be targeted in terms of their ability to rent, how they rent, the regulations that they are required to abide by. Really what they're trying to do is there's a particular private company or LLC in the state in particular that has had a lot of complaints about it. And maybe isn't managing their properties appropriately, what have you. And unfortunately, that has kind of led to a mass targeting or we're just gonna implement this statewide rather than trying to solve that one issue. And I had a couple folks reach out to me about this one in particular at the beginning of session. It did not become law, but just know if you are a real estate investor yourself or you help a lot of real estate investors, especially those that purchase as LLCs, keep an eye on what we're doing at the legislature in terms of housing because there is legislation that has been talked about that could have pretty significant implications for you. Last but not least,
Zach.
Yes.
Is there a general name for that category to watch for if it comes up in the next session?
Yeah, great question. Anything that references coming before the housing committee, whether it's in the House or the Senate, the things that are going to be more concerning will likely creep up through the House, the House of Representatives Housing Committee, rather than the one in the Senate. I'll give you an example. The housing bill we passed in the Senate was much more kind of pared down, common sense, moderate bill. But by the time it went to conference committee between the House and the Senate, it came back a little bit more crazy. I use that term loosely. I certainly came back with spending more money, I'll tell you that. Last but not least, business owner implications. If you followed the headlines at all this last legislative session, you probably heard us, you probably saw a debate about the costs that small businesses might have to bear as it relates to a lot of the legislation being passed. There are a couple of things in particular that if you're running your business in a way in which you have employees, you're going to want to visit with your payroll folks and your tax folks, because over the next couple of years there's going to be a new payroll tax that you as the small business owner and your employee will pay a portion of. And the government's creating a whole new department that you and your employee are going to have to abide by unless you opt out of it, but it's going to be difficult for folks to opt out of. And it's not this, it's not limited to employers that have 25 or more people or 50 or more people. If you have one employee, it's going to apply to you. So you need to be visiting with your tax and accountant folks to understand what those implications are going to be and how you will abide by that program and what your options are. You will have the ability to potentially opt out of it so long as you offer something that's very comparable, but there's some strings attached to that as well. So just know you're going to want to start to have those conversations sooner rather than later. It's not necessarily a bad initiative. I think it's an initiative that many people agree with and support. How it's being implemented is where the debate is, right? I'm talking about paid family and sick leave. And so as an employer, do your homework on it, make sure you're prepared for it, and how that might impact your business operations and conversations that you're going to want to have with employees. So with that, if I have time to, happy to take a couple of questions. Otherwise, I look forward to my exit song as I walk this way. Just kidding, I'm just kidding.
I was trying to find Enrique place.
I assume that was your ringtone, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, seeing none, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, Carly, how do you do? That was kind of. There we go. First of all, as you can tell, it's quarter till. There's so much good stuff here today. We're going to go a little over. We do respect if you need to be out of here by noon. Absolutely wouldn't be rude if you left. It would be rude though if you didn't wait and eat food from us. We're going to serve you. It wouldn't be rude. But we're always so grateful for our vendors. And here we have Zach, and he is with Midwest Chiropractic, and he's going to share a word, and he's providing some treats.
Yes, crumble cookies.
So that you will get more out of shape and need him more. And
yeah, should I wait?
Yeah, you gotta wait.
Okay. don't know if I know that song.
Rattle my bones.
As you mentioned, my name is Dr. Zach Kaczynski. I'm one of the chiropractors and owners of Midwest Chiropractic. We're located in Prairie, Minnesota. It's Appreciation Day. I want to just share my appreciation of having me here, having me to discuss. I won't take very long. I just kind of want to give an overlay of what we do as chiropractors, the services that we have in our office, and I kind of hope that I get to speak to each and every one of you because our health journey is very individualized, so it's difficult speaking in broad terms when everybody has different stresses amongst their lives and different health issues. So hope I get a chance to meet each one. So as our name indicates, we're chiropractors, right? So when people think of chiropractic, they think of neck and low back pain. And yes, that is a large portion of what we do. But we also focus on extremity issues, so hips, knees, ankles, shoulders, and whatnot. So we really kind of focus on the body as a whole system versus just one sole area, right? Because you're not just a neck, you're not just a low back. So we really pride ourselves on looking at the whole system and how it works together, coming up with that more individualized approach for each and every patient. The other big piece of our practice, our modality, we have a specialized piece of equipment. It's called SoftWave. And what this is, it's a shockwave therapy. That kind of sounds scary, right? Shock, no shock. But what it is, it's a regenerative therapy, and what it utilizes is acoustic sound waves to help heal tissue and help speed up the recovery process. So this is a piece of equipment that we've added to our practice for those issues that don't respond just to getting adjusted, right? So rotator cuff issues, knee problems, meniscus, hip labral tears, whatever it may be, soft tissue components, we've been knocking it out of the park. Fun baseball guy, right?
Oh, a good adjustment.
So if we, as we focus on that, people want to avoid surgery, injections, medications. This is the solution to that. So like I said, I hope I get to chat each and every one of you. If you want to talk with me about our services, I'll be here for a while. We also we're pretty active on social media. So if you want to get to know us as humans, we have a sense of humor. You can just follow us on Midwest Chiro. We also have a podcast, so we might have to feature maybe a little bit. But that's it. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
For those of you that were here on Health Day, Dr. Zach's partner, Dr. Mitch, was the one here doing adjustments and talking to you about their services, just so you make that.
And we work hand in hand together with all of our patients too, so yeah.
Was that a joke? All right. Good job, Doc. Thank you. Hey, before we get on to the main event, first of all, we have Josh and Alice out here. So I'm going to yell their names and then you all say thank you. Okay? Josh and Alice.
Thank you. Dirty back to the left.
All right. And we did recognize this person because she's special and it's a special day. However, once again, this person busted her tail to provide all this food. Cook. Just a round of applause for Victoria, please. Way outside of the official job description. It's unbelievable. But as you know, we have the State of the Union from our leader, my Kirby Puckett, Olivia.
That's awesome.
Olivia.
Okay, I do need a little bit of this space.
So you're saying?
I am saying for you to move out of the way. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you to Victoria and the entire leadership team for today. After we're done here, we're gonna move the tables that are outside and line them up right here. And then the plan is for us to just take maybe about 10 minutes and get organized to be able to serve you brunch. Today is all about you, and a little bit now what I want to talk about is where we're going. I'm gonna start with where we've kind of been, and I'm gonna walk you through a little bit about, again, where we're going so you can kind of see what's next for us. So want to start with a little bit of history of KWPR. Some of you know the story, some of you don't. Back at the end of 2012, Taylor and I took over Keller Williams Preferred Realty. We were located in Lakeville at the time. We had about 30 realtors. We had 2 cappers, Krista Nelson and Janie Tudewall. And we came in to rebuild the organization. And as of, I think, yesterday, 208, 209 agents, and we're on our way to 400. And with building an organization, just like all of you, you're building your organization and you're building your teams and your businesses. Alongside of you, we're building our business, which is your business, right? And along those same lines that you have growing pains, we've had them too, right? We're the largest mega agent team in the office, doing 2,000 transactions and serving you and your clients, right? So we've had some hiccups along the way. And one of the things that I kind of found, I've known about over the years is a book called Traction, and the philosophy of what's called entrepreneurial operating system from the book Traction. And I was introduced to a gentleman back in December named John Haney, and I was hesitant a little bit to go outside of Keller Williams for coaching, and I thought, you know what, let's just have a conversation and see what this guy and what the EOS system is all about. And had one conversation with him, and I knew that he was the right coach for our leadership team. So starting in January, John, he's flown into town 3 times from Charleston, South Carolina, and he's coaching us on models using the EOS system. And so our leadership team has spent about 40 hours with him year to date. He's flying into town next week for our quarterly. And one of the things that he's helped us do is really help us understand as an organization, what's our purpose? What are our values? What's our vision, and where are we going? So we spent hours, right, leadership team, figuring out what are the values of KWPR? What is our purpose? Why do we get up every day as leaders to serve you? And so I just want to kind of share with you a couple of things. First, so Jason gave me a huge overview on this, and I'm probably still going to screw it up. So let's start with our purpose. Our purpose is to serve agents and impact lives, okay? Serve agents and impact lives. I can promise you, because I know the leadership team at a very deep level, they get up every day with the intention of what can we do to serve our agents? What can we do more to provide for our agents? And I just want to give some examples as we go along. Coming in on a Saturday to cut checks for realtors. When checks come in on Friday after 5 p.m. and agents are really in need, people come in on Saturdays to cut commission checks. You have leadership team members that personally paid for some of you to go to Bold, and you don't even know who paid for it. Out of their own pocket, not out of company money. Many of you have received countless note cards, flowers, meals delivered weekly and monthly to our agents in need. I mean, we probably fill out 5 to 8 cards a week for those of you who have family members that have passed away, pets that have passed away, which sounds funny for me to add that one in. And it's part of your family and it's part of your life, right? And I respect that and I understand that. We had an agent actually had a heat stroke last week, and we have staff members, leadership team members texting that person over the weekend. I'm just making sure that you drank enough water. I want to make sure you're doing okay. That is serving agents, right? Having Minnesota Twins baseball signed by Ron Gardner for an agent's son who was close to catching a foul ball but missed it, and he was so sad and so bummed. And Jamie went out of his way and remembered that and had Ron Gardner months later sign a baseball for Sherry's son. That's impact lives, in my opinion. Fun contests, education games, and a bar for crying out loud in your broker's office. I mean, I don't know if Greg Hartos in the back has a bar, but we have a bar here at KWPR.
I don't like my agents as much as she likes you. So.
Yeah, I would agree. And thank you very much. That's on record, and we're going to send that to KWPR. Shots fired. Driving quarterly to our remote locations, you know, to visit Jana and St. Peter and Red Wing, and asking for no reimbursement in terms of gas money or mileage or anything like that. I mean, that to me is serving agents and impacting lives. Oh, I got 2 logos now, thank you. Yep, I forgot you told me that, thank you. So we have some new logos, serving agents and impacting lives, that Kelsey created. Thank you, Kelsey. Okay, so wanted to talk to you about our values. So this probably took us 6 hours in one day with our coach John to really, truly make sure, and then we even had to sleep on it, and a week later say, okay, are these really what is very important to us when we think of serving you, and for what we want to see in the agents that we bring to our organization that aren't here yet. And these are the 4: growth, integrity, impact, and culture, integrity, impact, and growth, okay? So the first one, there we go, good job. Our priorities are God, family, and business, and in that order. We know that that's what Keller Williams Realty stands for, and we firmly believe that ourselves as a leadership team. A couple examples when it comes to our culture. Corey and Danny Tudawal serviced a client for one of our agents in need who had cancer, and they wouldn't even take a referral fee, and they serviced the whole client from beginning to end. That to me is an example of culture. Did you know we have $8,600 in an account? It's called the Agents Helping Agents. It's called the AHA Fund, that you all have the opportunity to donate on your commission checks. And if you aren't, let's get you a form, even if it's $1 or $5. That money goes to all of you when we hear about someone in need. Last fall, we had an agent who we found out about on a Friday afternoon had her purse stolen. And within 30 minutes, we had a $500 check from the AHA Fund cut so that that person had some income or had some cash, you know, over the weekend when the banks were closed because they had no credit cards that worked because their purse was stolen, right? Agents helping agents. This one, I just found out about the other day, and it just makes me emotional thinking about it. Did you know that Sherry at the front desk prays over every single listing that we have here? She prays over every listing and every status change, hoping and praying that those clients will either find their dream home, right, if it's an active listing. And I just think that's incredible. When I talked to her about it to make sure she was okay that I shared that, she goes, well, it's just a really quick prayer, you know. And I'm like, because there's so many, she said, but yeah. I mean, that to me is incredible, right? So if you happen to think of it, please talk to Sherry about that or thank her. Next one is integrity. We believe in always doing the right thing. A couple things that come to mind, one was already mentioned, is Megan Orange. She doesn't have to give a kidney to anybody, and she is. She's doing the right thing. Steve Rawl, who's donated platelets monthly since 2002 when his son was first diagnosed with cancer. Integrity, right? Doing the right thing. Next is impact. We strive to give freely of our time and talents to positively influence lives. I have a lot here too that I want to share in terms of examples. Your ALC Culture Committee, year over year, they give of their time and their talents all the time, and they impact all of us and impact those in our community, right? Team Lucky Dog volunteers monthly. Arvidssons give freely of their time to kids and kinship. Kristen Nelson mentors kids on a weekly basis, more than likely, knowing you, it's daily. Sarah Anderson serves on the board for Open Door. Lisa Brainer's creating your own nonprofit to help those that don't quite meet the requirements to get government assistance. And the list goes on. And we want to know more and more and more about those things. We often hear of them and we sometimes see them on social media, but there's so many of you and so few of us. So if you are doing things like that and volunteering, please tell us. It may seem like you're bragging a little bit, but we want to know because we want to be able to share that. It's super important to us in our culture. And the last one is growth. We encourage a strong work ethic plus consistency, systems, models, and tools in order to achieve results. And some things that come to mind on that. We constantly have like 40 people attending Bolt. We constantly have the most per agent count of a market center in our region attending family reunion and mega camp and regional events like Quantum Leap next week. It shows me that you guys believe in models, right? Countless teams in the office that are following career visioning and you're helping one another grow, right? Like you're helping each other interview and really dive down on candidates and kind of grilling each other to make sure that that's the right person for the other organization who technically is your competition inside the office, right? That to me is growth and following models. So thank you for that. Next is vision. So I just want to highlight a couple of things. I don't have the notes up here, but in the next year, here are just a couple of things that this year that we want to accomplish. Our goal is to recruit 15 total cappers. And so we need those referrals from you. Our goal is to close 50 transactions in our leads program. If you're not in the leads program and you desire to learn a little bit more about that, please schedule time with Jason Arvidsson. In the next 3 years, a couple of big rocks for us as a leadership team, again, helping with our coach of John Haney is figuring out those rocks. We want to have a referral company in place. We will have an assistant MCA and an assistant team leader. We want $60,000 a year coming in from our preferred vendors. So Zach, stay with us for another couple of years, right? And then we want to be growing that leads program to 300 closings a year. We know that if we can help provide you with leads, you're just going to be doing more and more transactions and then influencing more lives. And the big goal that we have by January 1st of 2030 is $1 million in profit share. We will need more than 400 realtors inside this market center in order to do that. I kind of wanted to run you through a couple of just local numbers and where we sit so you can have a general idea. In Dakota County, we are the #1 office in terms of agent count and in closed volume. You can clap for that. When we combine Dakota and Scott County, RE/MAX results in Savage has us beat by about $67.5 million. So we've got some work to do to be #1 in primary of Dakota and Scott County, which are two of the largest counties that we serve. And then statewide, we are #10 in agent count, #22 in closed volume. It's hard because some of our competitors, like EXP, even though they have a lot of locations in the cloud, a lot of physical locations, they lump all of their people together, right? So they have 600 realtors in one office and then 600 realtors in another MLS ID office. So I did include those, and so there's a little, maybe variation of those numbers, but I kind of wanted to just give you an idea of where we were. So the next thing that, next and kind of the last thing that I want to talk about is momentum moving forward and a few things that you can do to continue to build your wealth inside of our organization, which also then will help your organization. Keep those introductions of warm agent referrals coming to Jamie, Danielle, and I. Bring an agent to classes, whether it be Family Reunion, Mega Camp, Quantum Leap next week. If you're going to Quantum Leap next week, which you should, again, next week's Wednesday in Roseville is for the big adults. Friday is for the little adults, right? 18 to 24-year-olds. But 85+% of people join our company because of our education. So if you desire to build your profit share and your wealth through profit share, and you're coming to Quantum Leap, buy a ticket for $70 or have us buy it for you and bring somebody with you to sit next to you. Continue donating to KW Cares and to our AHA fund, and then just continue to do what you're already doing. Share our story on social media. Some of the folks that have recently joined us, Ryan and Dawn and Amber and some of the other people that used to be here. Amber was here 5 years ago. Ryan Custodia was here 5 years ago. Don Peterson, who joined us, was here 5 years ago. And they're seeing what we're doing on social media, and they don't have that at their company. So please keep sharing our story so that we can continue to grow and influence lives. So last thing, we just know as a leadership team, you have a choice in where you do business, and we don't take that lightly. So thank you for being a part of this organization and being in the room today. It means a lot for us that you're here for Victoria and her birthday, because we all know that she loves you guys very much. And so thank you. Thanks for being here. And I think next we're going to thank you for being here. But after the team meeting, we are going to just maybe give us like 5-10 minutes. We're going to pull in some tables here, and then we're going to physically serve you breakfast, right? Today is all about you and our appreciation for you. Jamie, did you want me to mention what we talked about earlier?
Yeah, go for it. I hinted it.
Oh, you did already. Okay, great. So It's not finalized, and we do believe that we have found our next transaction coordinator. And she's standing in the back of the room. She hasn't signed the paperwork yet. And so when it's official, she's at another brokerage. And so when it's official, we will let you know, but she couldn't miss today because she wanted to see what we are all about. So thank you again for being here. We appreciate Stop it.
How do you do it all without one kid?
I don't know. I get up in the morning and I usually make everything so that.
Years ago.
Okay, the mimosas are served. Where are you all going? That is,